Morning and welcome back to Sports Today. We bring you this video segment every single morning to help you catch up with things that have been taking place in the world of sport whilst you were catching up on some rest, because let's face it, whilst you need sleep, I need sleep, the whole world needs sleep. The world of sport doesn't really sleep. There's always something or the other going on, and it can be a little tough to keep a track of every single thing that is taking place in the world of sport. But worry not, that's what we're here for, and we're going to start you off, of course, with a little bit of a prediction when it comes to the SRH versus KKR qualifier one that is going to be taking place later tonight. No, this prediction doesn't come from me. It comes from Wasim Akram, and Wasim Akram has said that KKR are at this point probably the most dangerous, well-rounded, confident side in the entire IPL. And the reason he's given for that is, of course, the fact that their bowling has been firing on all cylinders in recent weeks. He said that this bowling is one of the main factors behind them finishing on top of the points table. They are wicket-taking bowlers. The teams that will take wickets will win matches. If you see, Chakravarti has 18, Harshit Rana has 16, all-rounders Russell and Narayan have 15, and Mitch Starc has 12. Starc single-handedly won them a game as well. They are going in as a calm, confident and very dangerous side for sure. Now, he went on to predict that they would perhaps be winning the title, never mind just making the final. And that's an interesting prediction for sure. But now let's get to the news items that you probably saw on this, let's say, headline of this particular morning wrap and are wondering what exactly is happening here. Well, what has actually happened here is that there has been plenty of speculation around the next India head coach. And one of the names that, of course, the India team have been linked with is current Chennai Super Kings coach Stephen Fleming. Now, Fleming reportedly had some concerns over the length of the deal, as well as the fact that he would have to be on the road so often with the Indian cricket team, because of course that is just how cricket works in India. There is always a lot of assignments, and now with the additional, let's say, ICC trophies that are held every single year, it does add a lot to the schedule. And whilst he never outrightly rejected it, he's not exactly been that keen to take up the offer either of what has been a 3-year contract. Now, the BCCI are going to be trying, reportedly at least, a new sort of a tactic to convince Fleming to sign on the dotted line. They're going to be using MS Dhoni. Now, how exactly is that helpful? Because, of course, Dhoni plays for the same franchise that Stephen Fleming happens to be coaching, which is of course the Chennai Super Kings, and both men do reportedly share a very strong bond. According to a news report in the Hindustan Times, we're getting to know that the board's next plan of action or next strategy is to use Dhoni to try and convince Fleming to maybe sign on the dotted line. Whether Dhoni would help, let's say, get rid of the same CSK coach who has fired them to all the success in recent years is something that I don't know will work as a tactic, but it's definitely an interesting tactic that the BCCI are using for sure. And speaking of course, the India head coach, the vacancy that will be coming up after the T20 World Cup. Well, there has been another man who's been linked to that, and someone who got a lot of fans excited, and that name was Gautam Gambhir. Now, Gautam Gambhir, of course, has been mentoring the KKR side this year, and again, he's done a pretty fantastic job at that. But there is one person who has laid some question marks over whether or not Gambhir would be the right option for the Indian cricket team, and that person is his former Delhi and India teammate Akash Chopra. Akash Chopra said that Gautam Gambhir as a coach is a very strong personality. If there is going to be a transition in the Indian team and there's a new captain coming in, then yes, I think Gambhir would be a good choice. However, if the team has a lot of seniors already, I will be a little wary, because Gauti's style of working is almost like a strict father. When the father is strict, the children have to be a little careful. So what he said is nothing wrong with Gauti, perfectly good coach. He also added that he's someone who's very good at building squads at the IPL auction, but noted that, of course, the Indian team, you're not going to be having an auction. You're going to be calling up the players who are available, and you're going to have to work with them. So he said that, look, there are obviously, plenty of positives, but he's also added a word of caution, saying that if you have so many senior players, they might not like the strict father style of coaching that he brings to the table. And it's an interesting point. It's why I think personally I don't see a Gambhir moving to the Indian team, because I don't see that particular story ending very well. And speaking of Gambhir, he was a guest recently on R. Ashwin's YouTube channel, and there were plenty of interesting revelations that he made during that particular chat. We'll be doing a few videos on it later on in the day, but suffice to say, for now, the one thing that really caught my attention was the fact that how he mentioned that when he was a junior cricketer, when he was an up and coming cricketer, and how it is that the bizarre lengths that you'd have to go to sometimes to get selection in the Delhi circles. And he's not even talking about stuff like using sources or anything like that. He's not even mentioned that. This is his quote, and I'll just read it out to you, then we'll discuss it. He says that when I was growing up, maybe when I was 12, 13 years old, I didn't get selected when I tried out for my first under 14 tournament because I didn't touch the selector's feet. From then on, I promised myself that I will never ever touch anyone's feet, and I do not let anyone touch my feet. I mean, wow, that tells you everything about the depths at which sometimes selection can be and how whimsical age group selectors are, which is why I always say that if you are a cricketer who's made it in such systems, you've made it in spite of the system and not because of it, because stuff like this just makes for very, very grim reading indeed. It makes you wonder how it is that the sport has so many top players. Of course, you can say that it's because of the passion for the sport and the fact that these guys work hard. There's no two ways about that. But a lot more can be done to ensure that talent are given the best chance to succeed. And stuff like this is just phew. Any which way, moving our focus now from the world of cricket to the world of football, and Liverpool have in fact confirmed their new head coach, and what should be the least surprising news ever, former Feyenoord manager Arne Slot has been confirmed as the successor. Now, why I say it's least surprising is because Slot himself confirmed that he'd be taking up the job after Liverpool's final group game of the season against Wolves. Klopp himself serenaded Arne Slot and asked the fans to support him the way they supported him. And well, it's really not been that much of a surprise now, has it? It was expected, it was along expected lines, but the appointment has now been confirmed reportedly on a 3-year deal. Whether or not Slot can actually get Liverpool or keep Liverpool where it is the club has taken them, that's something that remains to be seen. Also, with a little bit more let's say football news, but this time looking more at the international side of things, England will be naming their provisional squad for the Euros 2024 later on today, and it is interesting to see who exactly will miss out, who exactly will get a seat, because there have been a lot of talented England players who have been doing well for their clubs. But whether or not they get a chance to be selected, because again the talent pool is really big, and Southgate is someone who prefers working with his core rather than expanding outside of it too much. It'll be interesting to see who gets selected. I'll be doing a video on that later on as and when it happens. Now, there's also, the Argentina squad, another provisional squad for a couple of friendly games ahead of the Copa America has been released. Unsurprisingly, the likes of Leo Messi, Enzo Fernandez, Leandro Paredes, and the likes make the cut. There's a McAllister there. Every single one of the star players, Martinez, all have been named to those squads. One notable omission has been Paulo Dybala, which is a bit surprising given Dybala has generally been in good form for Roma and, more importantly, was a key part of the Argentina side that ended up winning the World Cup in 2022 as well. I mean, sure, his impact mostly came on the bench, but there was still an impact player there who could be brought on to, let's say, get the job done when the first team weren't quite able to do it. Rather surprising that he doesn't make the cut, but who am I to question what Lionel Scaloni has done with this particular team? Maybe it'll turn out to be alright after all. Couple more bits of news. Speaking of also some tennis news, really, this is the weekend where you'll be looking forward to the French Open. It'll be starting this weekend, and there's a lot of focus when you look at the French Open on Rafael Nadal. But there are also question marks over Nadal's participation. Amidst all of that, he has started at least practicing at Roland Garros, but again, there's no indication yet as to how good or bad his fitness levels are and whether or not he'll be able to play in the tournament, or if he plays, what level will he be playing at? Which Rafael Nadal are you going to see? We don't quite know that yet. What we do know is that he's at least practicing, so maybe that is a good sign. Two more news, this time India-centric, before we call a wrap to this edition of The Wrap. The Indian mixed relay team, the 4x400 mixed relay team comprising of Mohammad Ajmal, Jyotika Sri, Amod Jacob and Subha Venkatesan, broke the national record at the Asian Relay Championships event which was held. They won the gold medal, and in the event they clocked a time of 3 minutes 14.12 seconds, which shaved a good 0.22 seconds off the previous national record. So congratulations to the awesome foursome. They've done really, really well and deserve all the plaudits that are coming their way at this point in time. Last bit of news, and this one is a really interesting one because 4 of the 6 wrestlers who have won quota berths for the Paris Olympics, which is to be held later this year, have now written to the Wrestling Federation of India asking them not to hold selection trials as the games are closed and it will affect their preparation. Who are those 4 wrestlers? There's Aman Sehrawat, Ritika Huda, Nisha Dahiya, and Anshu Malik. Now, Aman Sehrawat competes in 57 kgs, as does Anshu Malik. Ritika Huda is 76 kgs, and Nisha Dahiya competes in the 68 kg category. All 4 of these wrestlers have written and said, listen, there's no point holding trials now. You may as well just send us to the Paris Olympics, because at this point, if we're focused on preparing for the trials, then we won't be able to have our focus, let's say, long term on the Olympics. It's an interesting issue, and one, again, as I said, I'll do a separate video on later on in the day. We'll discuss this in some detail. But once again, the ugly specter of athletes wanting to get by without trials, something that has been a problem really in Indian sport, particularly for quote-unquote star athletes, is cropping up, and it's one that, should be told, the sport of wrestling could have done without, given I think it's seen more than its fair share of controversies in the past year plus. But that's it from us in this edition of the Morning Wrap. Thank you all so much for joining us as always. If you enjoy our work, please don't forget, like, share, subscribe, tap the bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsTak app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well, and stay tuned. Any more coming your way through the day, including, of course, all the chatter around Qualifier 1 of IPL 2024. For now, from my side though, it is goodbye.